Passing the torch. In Miami this spring, Sony Ericsson Open founder Butch Buchholz retired. Approaching 70, the American can now take time to reflect on a job well done and a dream realized.
In the 60s, when we weren't allowed to play the major events, I was on the board, Barry McKay, Mike Davies, and we said, someday we're going to have our own championships. We're going to have our own stadium. We're going to have our own Wimbledon. And I never forgot that.
An integral member of the Handsome Eight, a group of rebel professionals which included John Newcombe and Tony Roach, Butch led the fight for professional recognition in the 60s.
We fought so hard for open tennis, and we believed in it because in those days, when you turned pro, you weren't allowed to play in the major events. Well, not many people know that there was a professional tennis tournament at Wimbledon in August of '67, and 8 of us played. And at the time, the chairman of Wimbledon was a guy named Herman David. Anyway, Herman David invites us to play at Wimbledon and says to us, if you fill the center court at Wimbledon for this tournament, you can come here and play next year, because it basically tells me the British public want to see you play again. Well, it was a huge success. And when the tournament was over, he came into us and said, you guys are invited to come play Wimbledon next year. I don't care what anybody says. And then it just, as you say, the rest is history.
Having retired from playing at 29, Butch became a pioneer, bringing big-time professional tennis to South Florida. In 1985, the Miami Masters Open was born.
I believe that the players should have their own championships, their own Wimbledon, and when I became the executive director of the ATP, I got 2 weeks on the calendar. Came down here, they took me to 4 different parks. I said, you know, it's not really what I was thinking of. The last place, they brought me to Key Biscayne. And when you come over this bridge, you sort of go into like a paradise, I thought, and this was setting the tone for what I thought was going to be a great experience. And I said, we can have this? Oh yeah, he said, we were trying to figure out what to do with this for years. This is perfect. We'll make this a tennis complex, and we'll build a stadium.
Today's Sony Ericsson Open in Miami has been voted ATP World Tour Masters 1000 Tournament of the Year for 9 of the last 11 years. To Butch, it's a labor of love.
This tennis court was basically built by a tennis player. That back wall is 10 feet high. So when you're coming in to hit a volley, they've got a consistent background. And everything back there is consistent. I painted the steps so that it's consistent. There's no visual problems.
This year, more than 300,000 fans came through the turnstiles in Miami. It's a fitting tribute to years of hard work and passion. A milestone in the evolution of the game.
To be honest with you, I'm so proud of where professional tennis, where it came from. So to see where the sport has gone and to kind of know, you know what, we were right. And so I'm really proud of what the sport has done. I just think it's great.
There have been seismic changes to the game since Butch the player retired in 1969. There's no aspect of the sport which hasn't been transformed.
The game is so much tougher now than it was when we played. The kids are better athletes, they're bigger, they're stronger, they take better care of themselves. So I think it's changed that the players have gone from basically being tennis players to almost, you know, rock stars. They're not just on the sports page anymore. They're on society pages, they're on entertainment pages. And their life has changed. I mean, Federer's probably got a hard time walking, you know, around in Miami. And, you know, Rod Laver could go anywhere. No one really paid any attention to it.
He's had trophies named in his honor. He's been inducted into the International Tennis Hall of Fame. Butch Buchholz's legacy will endure.
Never thought it would happen, because in the years that I played, I couldn't play in the Grand Slams. And basically the only way you get into the Hall of Fame is winning Grand Slams. You know, it means a lot, and it means much more than I realized, because you have the label of a Hall of Famer, and I guess Americans understand that and appreciate that. So it's a great honor.
Next week on ATP World Tour Uncovered, all the drama and action from the Western and Southern Financial Group Masters in Cincinnati. And on the threshold of Grand Slam glory, we spend time with the 24-year-old Czech sensation, Thomas Berdych. Until then, don't forget to log on to atpworldtour.com for your 24/7 breaking news. See you next week.